Hey, what is up guys? So today we are going to be installing a set of coilovers on our Scion FR-S.
Yeah, so since we got this car, one of our biggest complaints about it aesthetically is just the amount of gap between the tire and the fender, but today we're going to do something about that.
Huge thank you to Keys Motorsports for supporting this video.
So the ones that we got, these are the Tein Flex-Z, and this is a 3-way adjustable coilover, so you can adjust the ride height, the preload of the spring, and then also the dampening here on the top. Before we start working, we'll put tape on the wheel and the fender so that we can measure and record the ride height before and after. We'll start by jacking up the car and supporting it with jack stands. With the wheels off, we can start working on the front suspension. Remove the 17mm bolt from the end link, the two 19mm bolts from the knuckle, and the 12mm nut for the brake line. Carefully lower the brake assembly. On this car, it can rest without stretching the brake line. Open the hood and remove the three 12mm nuts from the top of the shock. It helps to have a second person to hold the shock so it doesn't just fall out of the car. Reinstall this fastener for the ABS sensor onto the new strut. The struts are unique to each side, so double check that you have the correct one. Again, it helps to have a second person to hold the strut in place while the top nuts are reinstalled. Grab your 12mm socket and torque the nuts to spec.
So if you're having trouble getting the sway bar end link back in, if you take it off of the other side, this whole piece will be movable again so you can get it back in.
Reinstall all of the nuts and bolts for the end link, brake line, steering knuckle, and torque them all to spec.
Yes!
So we had the front coilovers installed on each side, and all the settings came pre-done from the factory, like the spring preload, and we adjusted the height a little bit, so we're going to lower the car back down and just see how it looks for now.
So now that the fronts are installed, we're going to get started here on the rear. The first thing we're going to do is take the carpet out of the trunk. So there are some plastic tabs in the trunk that hold the carpet in, so we're going to go ahead and take those out.
With the trunk carpeting out of the way, you'll see two 14mm nuts on the top of each rear strut. Remove the single 17mm nut and bolt from the bottom of the strut. Just to give you guys a little update, the power went out about maybe 20 minutes ago, so that's why we have the garage door open. So we're trying to get this done before it gets too dark out. Alright, so we just got the rear shock installed, and so all you really have to do for this one is you undo this bolt here, obviously for the bottom, undo this one here for the end link, and then there's one right over there for the lower control arm. Just undo all three of those, and then this will just fall out, and then you just put the new one right in its place. With the installation complete, we'll put the wheels back on the car and take some measurements. Alright, so the last step here after we get everything in is to set the dampening. Now according to the book, it says to turn back 7 clicks from the stiffest setting. And so it comes with this little tool. You don't really need to use this, but this basically tells you hard or soft. So if you come over here, you just take off this little rubber piece, and that'll go in there, and we'll count 7 clicks back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we'll do that on all 4 sides. We should be good to go. So how was it working with me today?
Stressful.
Really?
Yes.
I only swore a few times.
I heard the BMWs. Never mind.
The chime?
Yeah.
So that's how the car sits right now. Like I said, we're gonna play with it a little bit this week as we drive it around. We're gonna probably make some adjustments with the ride height, and then the final step to all of this will be getting a professional alignment. That's after we have everything else dialed in. That'll be the final step. So all of the tools that you're gonna need, I'll list those all down in the description. I'll list these exact coilovers if you wanna check those out. Again, thank you to keysmotorsports.com for supporting this video. And then, yeah, that's just about it. So give me a thumbs up if you found this helpful. Whether you're installing these on an FR-S or BRZ or basically any other car, the actual process is fairly similar. It's not going to be too much different. Obviously, the size of the nuts and bolts might be different. The torque specs are going to be a little bit different, but the basic principle of how suspension works is fairly similar for any car. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.